All right. So I've got a short on here and from 83.5, and you can see it's profitable. I might take profits here. In fact, I think I'm going to. Yeah, let's take that one off just so we can start fresh. Uh, okay. So interesting day, that's for sure. I was thinking we were going to get a push long at the close until this started happening. And now we're right above this air pocket. So any pushes up, I'm kind of selling into because it's, low risk. Don't want to do that. There we go. See if that does drop or not. I've got what I think is the best blend of stuff for people just kind of watching what I'm doing without having me have to drag shit over and whatnot. My 15 seconds on the bottom, I've got this is a 30-minute footprint that I'm watching for structure. And then the 260 seconds, I'm just using for wave volume. And we just took out the initial balance high here. And it's kind of been in play. I was originally, like I said, thinking we were going to be along to the other end of the range into the close, but we're already up a lot. If you're not paying attention today, it's a big move day. I did take off my triple ETFs, which were on the long side. That turned out to be a really good trade. Put it on yesterday morning, and today we're up, almost 3%. And so those are up. But yeah, counting yesterday and today, they were up like 13% or something. Anyway, I'm thinking about putting them on short now, to tell you the truth. I was hoping to get a close up near the highs, which may not happen here. So you know what? I'm going to scoot that guy down too. I think this could go either way real aggressively. So I'm kind of just ready to go with it. As I posted in the announcement for the class, I have a couple of side subjects I'll talk about. Yeah, we do have a P-shaped profile. That's also true. Those can be interpreted two ways, if you ask me, Meki. Meki sent me a message saying there's a P-shaped profile. There's the traditional way, and then sometimes they're exactly the opposite of that. So have you ever found that, JVC? The kind of classic what a P is, and then sometimes it turns out to be a perfect example of the other way. So
yeah, I never even knew about any of this profile shape stuff prior to TRG. So no.
Yeah, I look at them more like boundaries than, the P and B. Double distributions I pay attention to, but just for reference, yeah, from my point of view, as long as we're below the bulge here, this is bearish. No matter how you want to look at it, from P's and B's and double D's and whatever else. That's my way of looking at it. And again, it's to lean on. So as long as we stay below 85 here, I'm going to short it. And I was doing the exact opposite right before I started this session. So I was trading long above 85 with an 84.75. And the reason I was doing that, there was a big price rejector there and a big positive delta, and now we're below it. So, maybe some of this giant range will get given back here. I don't know. I'm not predicting either. With this strong a move up, I was pretty sure we'd get a strong close up, but maybe there aren't as many shorts trapped as you'd think. I don't know. I'll give this a little bit of room, but, I'm not going to let it go too far here, see if the idea still works. Actually, I'm tempted to. That's really the spot I'd like to be short right there. So if it holds below 85, I may tack another one on here. Just, I'm going to do that right there. Let's try that at 84.5. Okay, then we'll take the first one off, like right there, and see if we can make some money here. And again, I'll scoot those out of the way. I'll stop out if it gets above this bulge, or if it even starts attacking the bulge aggressively, which it might be about to do. So, call it 85.25. So, I'm going to give it a little bit of room, but not much. It needs to kind of stall here and start going the other way for this idea to be valid. We're at the top of the range on kind of we started a move down. We took out that price rejector, and so I'm kind of betting the move down is going to continue now that we're below that big positive delta. It kind of looked like they were absorbing buying a few minutes ago too on the way up. There was a big chunk of buying that just, got puked twice. So, all right, there's a little bit of a push down. Let's take one of those off here and take some profits. Okay, now we might get lucky here and catch a nice drop. There's a huge air pocket down here. You can see I'm only in the middle of the air pocket. That's the VWAP right there at 79. Again, that's not really important to me, but I will protect this in a minute, but I'm not going to trade it really tight, because of what I've been saying since the beginning, since when I started, that, this idea, as long as 85 kind of doesn't get breached, I think this air pocket might fill in. And so I'm really giving this trade room. And so far it's been working. And obviously I got the first one off nicely with some profits. So let's see if we can catch the move down. If not, I'll just get out of it with what I've got here. It's got to get below 82.5. Let's see if it can do that. It's right there right now. It's right above it, 82.75. And, I'll go ahead and put a protective stop at 83.5. And if it gets hit, I made my 4 ticks and boom. All right. So we got 4 ticks on one and 2 on the other, I think. Yeah. All right. So that's fun for now. We'll keep playing with this. I want to see if I can just do a bunch of fun kind of scalps and talk the tape as I do it. This is a good day for that because it's kind of, again, as long as it doesn't get above 85, I'm liking shorts here. May even grab another one in a minute here. So keep seeing that, like right there. Let's see if we can lean on that. Okay, that worked. So let's get that out of the way. Scoot the target down a bit. See if this idea can gain some traction. Yeah, now it looks like it's going to get bought. So. All right. Anyway, so yeah, I don't know if I want that one now. Let's just play with one here. I want to be able to give it a little room to play. Again, it's got this nasty air pocket down here, but a long that gets going will trap, the people that are doing what I'm doing. So, and there's obviously people are doing that. This has been kind of two-way trading. Anyway, I'm going to talk about a couple things, between trades or fill in. We've got plenty of time, and I may end this before the close also. Going to talk about funks a little bit because I'm feeling a little bit funky today, a couple of different ways. And but I'm still doing okay with trading, staying reasonably focused. I've been taking lots of breaks, and also just want to talk about everything you need to trade all the different kind of setups that I do is on this view right here. The 15 seconds give you a real good idea of the range, and right now the range is breaking to the upside. I may need to bail out of this, and then again for wave volume. A little bit further out in the range. I've got that on that left monitor, but this way I don't have to turn my head. And then, for structure of footprint, this is a 30-minute, depending on your flavor. Yeah, this is kind of right at the spot where I think I'm gonna be wrong here. Let's get out of the way of that one. Don't like that one anymore. Yeah, I want to. Yeah, now watch. It'll hold that exact same spot that I was watching. Yeah, I mean, this is a really clearly defined bump here, and so right up until this moment, it was I could have played that a little bit looser, and maybe not gotten out unless it got on the other side of it. But that should be a line in the sand. We shouldn't be moving up into it, and we are, and we're trading above 85. So this could end up even being a long. Who knows? These things keep blinking on me, so I am just going to close them. I don't know if that's Zoom doing that or what. Were you having Zoom? Weren't you? I remember you said the same thing this morning, JVC.
Yeah, I've been noticing if I'm screen sharing, my platform can get a little laggy and things don't respond real instantaneously the way they do if I'm just observing. If I'm just watching, it's fine. But if I'm actually the one sharing my screen, there's load.
Okay, that's interesting. All right, I'm trying to shut some things down. I just shut down. What did I do? I just shut down the Thinkorswim. Oh, by the way, you need to make me the host. I'm the co-host.
Oh, yes, that's right.
It keeps sending me messages.
Here you go. You are the host with the most. Please make me a co-host again.
Yeah, I'll do that. Yeah, I understand that, Mickey. We've been up here a really long time, not going anywhere. And that, again, you could argue that case both ways. At the moment, I think it's a short, but I've been sucked into that idea a few times and had to get out of the way, but I just put it on again. I mean, the potential down into the air pocket here is really significant. Okay, here it goes. I think I might add to this. Yeah, now I've got 2 of those. Let's see if this will get some running down room. Nope, it's going to go the other way. Okay, be that way. Yeah, I'll give it 86, but really that's it. So get ready to flatten this out. I'd love to see it the bottom just fall out, and it feels like it could, but you got to protect it somewhere. I mean, you just can't let that run against you. And I was using the bulge as protection before, but then we ran up into the bulge. So, I'm Oh, I don't know if I'd be quite this aggressive if I wasn't just feeling like crap and trying to have some fun here. I might just walk away, but it's today's nothing that happens is going to change it. So I might as well just have a little fun and see if I can catch a nice move. This could easily take out the highs on a short squeeze at the close. And, it keeps it's going to do it again. It's going to make me get out of the way again. That's, win one, lose one, win one, lose one. It's been doing that to me for like 20 minutes. That's why I wanted to start the session early. I figured it would be good for you guys to see that. The best thing to do when that's happening is not trade, but, might as well have a little fun with this while it's doing it. Because like I said, nothing else today has been very fun. And I'll talk more about that. I may switch accounts here too, just so we can play a little bit more. But we'll stay with this one maybe through this trade and a few more. God, see, this is really the wrong place to stop out. The right place to stop out would be above, not there, but if it gets above this big bulge that I've been watching for the last hour, and and it keeps bumping into it, and then trades down a little bit, and acts like, okay, we could come down here, but then it doesn't. So again, the best thing to do under circumstances like this is really nothing, but we'll play with it a little bit more. We'll indulge it just a little bit more. And if nothing happens or it goes up hard, I'll get out of it and we'll do something else. Or we'll, not do the session if it turns out there's nothing to see that's of value. If this is what it's going to do, if it's going to trade between, 82 and 85, going into the close, we're going to be done pretty fast here because it's not even predictable enough to do one tick drills. It's working like a 12, 14 tick range, and there have been sweeps and they've been mostly down, and there's been some big absorption that we're trading down from, but then we get on the other side of it and then you're like, oh crap, I'm wrong. It's one of those days that's gives a lot of tricky signals is probably a good way to say it. So we'll just play with it and see if we can have some fun. You got to, again, logic never works in markets. But if you look at we're up almost 3%. And, we were up yesterday. So, even if this is not a dead cat bounce and, we're going to rally into the new year with, all-time highs and go to 5,000, we've already come a long way today. Oh, and by the way, the other thing worth note again is the volume's pathetic. We barely got 1 million shares here. And, on a move like this, participation in the tune of, a 2.5 or 3 million, or not shares, contracts, would make sense. And, we're just not, lots of stuff isn't making sense. And that's kind of making it hard to game. And now it's probably going to push up and I may just flatten it out here. Again, the spot I'm watching is right here at 80, 85. So, it gets much above that and it could puke badly against me and I'm just going to get out of the way. So I've got my finger ready to do that. And there's that absorption again. Yeah, we got out of the way of that. This could go either way and this bulge is just way too sharp. So for now, I'm not going to do anything. I'm just going to let that sit there. And we'll keep an eye on it. And maybe we'll do something else if it gets interesting again. So I hate when that happens, when, you just work really hard and you just, screw it, it can't get traction in either direction. And this is actually a really nicely shaped profile. If this was the whole session, this would be perfect. But the point is, it's not. Look at this session, we really came up here hard. And the thing that's the most interesting, I'm going to switch this to a little further out just so you can see the point I'm about to make. So I'm switching this to 5 minutes. And come on, ES, catch up. Okay, so this is the point I'm making. We got everything. This entire move was right at the open, and it was obviously driven by a short squeeze of some sort that was happening. So now here we are, and we literally have not really left the top of the first hour high. It's just been sitting up there, and that's the P, and all the volume's up here, and it makes a big bulge, and what can we infer from that? Well, usually, the fact that there's agreement up here, there's value, but Gosh, could we have a run to all-time highs again going into the end of the year? Yeah, certainly between now and the end of the week, and the next week options expire. It's quad witching. So, rollover starts Thursday, officially, but depending on the volume, you can trade at your leisure. So, this is just, the whole thing is very interesting, but lots of conflicting ideas. So having, any one notion in your mind's probably not a good idea. Excuse me. All right, let's go here. All right, well, if this does get interesting, I'm going to play again, and I may play with a little bit of size, but I'm really fed up of this with this point right here, so I'm not going to trade it. I'm not going to keep trying what I was just trying a minute ago. That's just a waste of time. But if we get some momentum, it could be useful to play. So we'll watch it. Really tight range within kind of a tight range, as I just showed you, that's just sitting up here. It's kind of set up, two possible scenarios going into the close, just thinking about, what the closing session is probably going to look like. And we're in it right now. We could take out the highs. That wouldn't shock me at all. There's enough shorts that are offside that if enough of them still are going into the close, that could get really, really interesting. The current rotation we're on suggests that's possible. The bottom's pretty clean there. The top, not as clean. So this looks like we might have a shot at going up. But so far, all the up moves have kind of been sold back to the other end of the range, And so, I'll join this if it can clear 87.5 and get some momentum going. I did a few of these up to 90 a minute ago. In fact, maybe we'll take one now. I did this before I started the session because this became a pretty good trade. So I'll kind of show you the one going the other way. So it's got to kind of hold right here. Again, the line in the sand there is kind of 85, and you got to give it a little too much room for it to work. But, let's just say that part of the high volume node. So, if we're going to go up, you really want to see it hold right here. And if you can get a position on, and it does, and then it pukes, let's see if that one fills. I'm trying to kind of get a couple on here right around 87. Okay, let's put that guy just above the 87.5. All right, so if this is going to work, it should work right now or pretty soon. If it starts doing this, let's go back and visit 85 stuff, then, we're just going to be in this darn range. And that would surprise me, that with this much volume up here, I would really think that we would test the high, or that we test this air pocket and, watch now, we'll go the other way after I tried to go long. And last time I was trying to go short. Wouldn't that be funny? So there's a little bit of a bid under the market. That's how we got up here, but it's got to get over that high volume node for it to really mean anything. Okay, this could be it right here. I'm looking for pukes. So, I want to see somebody accumulate a bunch of them around some price, and then I want to see it go a couple of ticks above that. That's how they'll get stuck. And of course, so far it's not doing that. Now that you guys see where those are, that's kind of the spot where I'll bail out of this trade, but I'm just going to move that so that I can see what's going on here without clicking on it accidentally. So, yeah, you know what? I'm starting to think this is a long again. Let's give it one more of those just for fun. Then we can get out of the first one under 87.5 and the other one at 87.5 with some profits. And then if we get our runner, we've got a lot of runner to go with it. So this is actually I finally got an entry there right on the bulge in the direction we're going. And if you're going to do bulge range trading, this is what you need to do. So, the likelihood we can get a few ticks as long as the buying continues here is pretty good. And it's in the direction that if there's going to be a puke, we should be with the puke. So it should puke toward our targets. This is actually a much better setup now than it was a minute ago. So, but, I've got 3 of them. So again, I'm vulnerable to a sweep down. There's a mouse button I can press that will flatten me out, and I can also click on this, but I don't think I'm going to need to. It looks like we're going to get the lift right here. Okay, there's one more of those will take me out of the first 1 or 2. And of course, it doesn't give me the second tick up. It's been doing this to me all afternoon. It gives me 1 tick winners and then 2 tick winners. And then when I go for 3 ticks, it goes the other way. There we go. Okay, we got both of those. So now this looks interesting. I'm long from 86.5. It's 87.75. So we can kind of stick a stop with 2 or 3 ticks of profit. And maybe we'll get a runner going up here. This is not the target. That's just the first place I think it might slow down. So again, we'll scoot that out of the way just so you get the idea. I think 91 to 90 to 92, 90 to 91 and 75. That's where it's going to struggle unless it just really gets going. And so I don't want to necessarily sell there, but I want to be mindful that that's where it's probably going to slow down. And you can see why. Just look at the 30-minute. It's been challenged there for a few tries, but so far this looks like it wants to go up more. This is much more like not high enough than lower. So let's see if we can get a runner going here. We've got $100 here on our 1 lot left. It was a 2 lot, so yeah, I don't know. That's all. Yeah, that's what's been happening all day to me, except at the open. And it's just like, all right, that's fine, but it's not fun to trade when it does that. It keeps teasing you, and then it does this. So if I hadn't have gotten filled up there, now I'd be upside down by 8 ticks. And so the best thing to do with this is really probably not trade it at all, but I wanted to see if we get momentum at the close. Last few days we've seen a lot of that can be fun to trade. And so let's see. Okay, so we're at 85 again. That's the spot we want to see hold. I've been saying that. And of course, it went 2 ticks below that, which is where anybody there would have stopped out. So now what it'll probably do is go back up to 87 or 88 after it took out stops in both directions. That's what's been happening. These ranges have just been, widowmaker ranges. And even if you're trading the range well, it's, as you just saw, it's not giving you enough to make it, worthwhile. And again, this is kind of one of the ways the market tells you days that are just probably not worth your attention, or at least times of the day. This morning was a wicked good, open 5, opening whatever, opening hour. Clearly after that gap up that we had overnight. I'm not convinced that this is going to go through Christmas, though. That's certainly one possibility. We could be at the beginning of a rally to all-time highs. The correction could be over. And that's certainly a possibility. But you know what? I've seen that a lot this time of year, and every time I see it, I'm like, here's the TPO view. We made a lot of progress, and there's not much above us anymore. Huge, in 2 days. Having said that, again, in markets that are collapsing, you see that all the time. You see these huge moves up. Go see 1929, go see 1987, go see 1997, go see 1999, go see 2003, go see 2008. All of those had those characteristics. So, again, I'm just not convinced that this is, that little correction we had last week at the end of last week is over, but who knows? So
you've got a question from Bauer. I don't know if you saw it.
No, it didn't go to me. That's weird.
Oh, I guess that's odd.
Is it directed?
Okay. Well, anyway.
Can you just copy and paste it?
Yeah, of course I can do that. Duh. So smart. There it is. He's asking about the big negative, that what Lee would call a contested level in the delta.
Which part of it? There's a few of them. Which one are you talking about? Right here?
Oh, sorry. On mine, it's got the deltas highlighted. So at 85 and 85 quarter, it looks like the 2 deltas, max delta and min delta are stacked.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Oh, that's been going on for the last 3 rotations. We keep getting
sorry,
that.
I'm looking at the session. Sorry.
Oh, you're looking at the session.
Yeah.
Okay. Let me get a session.
I forget other people look at things other than the session.
Yeah, I have the session on another screen. Let me go get it, and I'll comment on it. I only look at it when I think there's something important there. So I'm glad to bring.
I mean, you can see it in your profile probably. Just min and
max. Oh yeah, we're right there right now. Well, that's basically what I was talking about right here with this big delta. Yeah, that's the spot I was talking about. Who's asking? Is this Meki?
Oh, Bauer was just asking about
it. Yeah, that's the spot I was talking about when I said that there's a big, depending on which side of him we're on, is a big passive or buyer or seller. I've been interpreting that as, somebody's absorbing all this buying. That's my interpretation. But, again, that's an interpretation. And if you look at the entire session, which is over here, the session deltas are right on this. That's why I was explaining that this bump here is so important. We're talking about the same thing, Bar. Absolutely. It's really significant. But every time I assign significance beyond the statement, it's really significant, on one side of it or another, I end up, getting faked out. Normally, this type of huge volume at the top of a really big run like this, you would be in good shape on the south side of it, of the bump with shorts, and you'd be in good shape, but that assumes, very important point, that assumes momentum. And guess what? We have no momentum. I mean, it just keeps going back and forth in this, literally it's like an 8-tick dance between, 84.5, then it maybe teases down to 82, and it pops back up to 87.5. And it's not doing the range tradably, though. It's getting there, and then the bottom is falling out, and then it's popping up. And, so even with really precise entries, and I'm speaking from experience, I've been working on this for a couple of hours, really trying to understand this action, whether I was trading it or not. And it's weird. It's just really weird. So it's clearly a contested level. There's no argument about that. I mean, just watching it for the last 2 hours, you could see that happening. But how the heck to play it, who knows? I would be really simple with it, as I try to be most of the time. And, if we're north of it and we've got momentum, look out. I'd say the high might be in play. Although there's another big positive delta up there at 91.5 too. It did this a few times where it absorbed and then traded back down. So, again, if we get on the other side of the bulge and there's momentum, might even join that again, but you've seen it as I've been trading this, it's really hard for it to get above that spot. It just doesn't seem to have traction up there. So, and again, likewise, if it gets down, I would love to see this air pocket down here, be in play, because as you all know, low volume nodes or low volume areas, like, everything from anywhere below 82 or 81 or 80, there's nothing there. So, people will let it drop before there'll be interest. Price 75 is the first place there'll be interest. Massive. And even then, the air pocket goes all the way. There's another down at 50, 55. There's no clean spot where there was a lot of volume today because we haven't been there. So, now generally, this is a good example because this is one of those examples where going into the close, you kind of have to think. Remember when we had the big down day and I kept saying, okay, big down day, guys, sooner or later, everybody's short. They're going to have to cover. We ended up with this 40-point rally in the last 10 minutes, right? That wasn't about the market being strong. That was literally just people that had been shorting all day saying, cool, let's take profits. Because everybody has to, they can do it a little early, they can do it a little late, they can wait for New York to settle, but sooner or later, they all have to do it. So that's why that happens. Hang on a second. Just walking. So anyway, that's one of the things that makes closes fun, but can also make them kind of tricky. So what you have to do is you kind of have to, not, looking at the structure helps you understand who's winning and, where to lean. But you have to kind of think about as the trade unwinds scenario, what could happen. A number of guys that I trade with, I've been talking to people on text a little bit today. A number of them think this entire day could unwind at the close. We could go right back to break even. Because the volume is so low and because it came up here right at the open, it screams of, let's get the max pain number at the best spot in going into, triple witching week next week. It screams of that. But having said that, that doesn't mean it couldn't scream of that all the way up to 5,000. That's the trouble with stochastics or RSI or any of those kind of oscillator type indicators is, that you can get up there and stay that way for can stay overbought a really long time. So, oftentimes you'll see the market all go one direction like that without a lot of energy or volume. And, it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. So I closed Thinkorswim down because it was affecting Zoom. It turns out that's what makes my Zoom lag. I've seen that over and over again. The minute I close it, everything's fine. Anyway, Java. And it's Java. Yeah, Java sucks. And anyway, the reason the thing that was interesting there was I had the heat maps on the advanced decline in the volume. And, go look at the advanced decline. I'm sure you could find it somewhere right now. It's huge up. I mean, everything is up, but again, not on a lot of volume. And, how is this, again, are people that hold large equity positions, are they going to say, oh, this is a cool opportunity to get out before the rout that I think might come that almost happened 2 weeks ago? Or, is this, okay, that's over by the dip? Really hard to tell. But on any given day, as I said, that's where I'm going with this. On any given day, you can kind of assume, sooner or later, everybody who's long is going to take profits here. And there could be enough buyers that, of people that are short that are getting, squeezed, that it could end up, we just finish off the P. And by the way, that's the idea of a P shape profile, in case we've been talking about it, just that we'll just sit here and collect volume, and, the trap shorts have to buy, and the longs that are not in, there's nothing forcing them to take profits. So there's nothing to push us down. And we just saw what that looks like, by the way, when I was trying to get the bottom of the range there short, below like 84.5, 85, what I was doing at the beginning of this, that's what that would look like if that was happening, and it happened. So that's why I'm kind of thinking that's what we're seeing. And it's supported by the idea of the P profile and yada, yada, yada. And of course, if you would like for further reading, here, I'm going to just do this. Okay, I just stole whoever came up here in a Google search. I don't really care whose quote it is, because it means the same thing. So I mean it's right. So I don't care whose it is. That's a definition of. Whoops, I sent that to Jeff. I didn't want to do that. I'll send that to everyone, just so you guys understand what I'm talking about here. That's what it looks like. Okay. Yeah, that I'm just reading back what JVC said about, buy below it, sell above it. But the problem is it's not giving you anything with that. And again, this is not unusual when you have a volume profile that's so symmetric like this. Again, if this was the whole thing, this would be a perfect range day. But this isn't the bottom of it. That's just the bottom of the P, the bulge in the P. And that's what's so weird about today. That's what I'm just having trouble wrapping my brain around. It's just such a weird, here, let me show you here. You can kind of see, this is what it's doing. Okay. So that's what a P looks like. And we had, that was the overnight too. So that's pretty bullish, but it doesn't mean it won't collapse, when they're down here, you hear me say this all the time, when there's a lot of volume at the bottom of a move, that's usually, signals that the move's consolidating or it's over. And that's what it should look like. It should do that. And we did that, and then we went down a lot more, and then we did it again, and now we just shot out of this all in one overnight and one day, right back up into the range. And again, that is what is just so suspicious. And I'm not saying manipulation's suspicious, just that
don't trust it.
Don't trust it. Suspicious is what I mean. Yeah. I'm just saying that, that just is. Oh, and the other thing, this morning, you guys might have noted this too. We had a lot of examples where just within 30-minute bars, we were upset. Well, it's doing it right now. They're the wrong way around. And we had that a lot. And then they go the right way around, and then they go back. Were you seeing that, JVC, in ES? I saw it for like the first hour and a half.
Yep.
And again,
deltas were moving a lot.
And they were upside down. The blues weren't at the top, and the reds weren't. And what Lee says when that's happening. And again, I agree with him. Something's wrong here. And you can't just say, "Well, I know what's wrong. I'm smarter than the rest of the world." No, it just means that your tool is not giving you information you can rely on, because the tool is confused. Tools get confused, and so just don't lean on it. And here we go.
Go ahead. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah,
I was just going to say, I really like seeing when the deltas are the wrong way around, when there's a structural reason somewhere, someplace far away that I think we could get towards, because then I like reading it as, well, we're not too high and we're not too low. So
exactly.
We're going to do something. We're going to move.
Apex, and it will break.
Yeah.
And this could be, I'm going to go ahead and jump in here short, by the way. That was a really aggressive move down. If it continues, it's right at the bottom. Look, now we're down 82 and a quarter. If this continues at all, the bottom should fall out, because that was really aggressive. So I'm going to try to join that again anywhere from about here down. I think I think this could get. This is what I was looking for when we first started the session. I was looking for some really good aggression down that doesn't get bought immediately. In other words, it's not some algorithm looking to get long. This looks more like selling than an algorithm looking to get long. So I'm gonna see if I can catch some size. Again, it's my classic approach is if we're on this side of this volume bulge, that's to play short. But again, I've shown you like 4 times where today that's not working for whatever reason. And, this energy to the downside is really strong. And unless it really gets bought aggressively here, our P could go and we could do what I keep thinking it's going to do and fill in this spot here. So you know what? We'll pick that one. We won't pick that one. So we'll let this have 85 one more time, and we'll take one more short if it does. But again, this big momentum like that, it's got to continue pretty soon. I want to see it going into the close. Everybody that's long taking profits, is a short explanation. So let's see if we can't get some downside momentum. It looks like it really wants to go down. And so, that's a decent clean bottom, but it should break pretty hard right here. Okay, it's trying. I'm going to take the first one off if I can on 3 or 4 ticks there. And then as the air pocket goes, we'll have the other one left. And on a pop up, we'll add another one to it. That's kind of what I'm thinking here. So always take some profits if you can. So I'll get my 82 off at 81.25 if I get a chance. Yeah, that could actually come a little farther, couldn't it? Let's give that a little more room since we're actually looking for a breakdown here. Really got to watch these carefully for signs that you're wrong. And a slower footprint, you can see like, okay, there's buying on the pullback. That's a bad sign for being short. You can see on the flip chart, was really red. It's trying to be blue, but barely. So let's see if we get that other one. That would be on a really aggressive push down. This is about as far as I want it to go. So if that fills, I'll be okay and I'll be happy. And then we might continue our aggression. But if it doesn't do that, or if it gets full and goes past it, then we'll get out of the way here. Try something else again. Boy, see, it's tapping right. Everybody's doing exactly the same thing I am. I can't get a fill there. So I'm in the right place. That's how I've said that over and over again. That's how I read that. That just means there's lots of limit orders up there, and so am I. So, that's a good kind of line in the sand for the moment. If it fills, I'll keep a close eye on it. But it means it'll usually get profitable pretty quick, and I might go ahead and take the market anyway for another one. Let's see, what time is it? We have 45 minutes. Yeah, I'd like to see more down momentum in the next half an hour. So let's just see how this plays out. So far, everybody's in, instantaneous correlation up, and for the session, we're up. Obviously, instantaneous correlation is down. So everybody's kind of firing on the same cylinders. So this could work really nicely. Clearly, if I'm going to get another one here, I'm one tick too high, or if it pushes up, then I might be wrong altogether here. So let's see if this one fills here at 84.50. It's right on the bottom of that big bulge. That again, the thesis is that big bulge is going to hold. And let's get that target down a little farther. So clean up the targets and the stops. We don't want those stops. I will flatten out if it gets anywhere near the bulge here. But so far, we might have caught a good bounce there to add to. That looks like that's what's happening. So a little sweep down here would be nice confirmation. Watch the flip right there. See, it's turning red. That's, net negative, which we're short. That's good. We want, if you're short, you want to see red there. It means, bids pulling, asks getting added. The net of that over the levels it measures is that we're going down. So, people are getting out of the way and they're saying, oh, yeah, I'll sell here, I'll sell here. So that's the logic of that particular tool. Again, I just kind of keep an eye on it after I'm in a trade, or if I'm not sure, because if I'm short, I want to see red histogram like this right here with just a little bit of blue when I'm shorting into it, and that's exactly what happened. You can see that's how you use that tool, and that's why I have it right there. It's actually the bottom of the Auction Vista heat map in Jigsaw, and I just have it covered up by the dome. Every now and then I do look at those heat maps though, and I just pop it open if I want to see it. That's where the liquidity and the traded volume are plotted out. If you're not familiar, go look at the help screens for Jigsaw. All right, this could, God, it's teasing me. It's like, yeah, we're going to fall. The bottom's going to fall out, Jeff, any second, and then it goes up 2 ticks. The bottom's going to fall out any second, Jeff. Then it goes up 2 ticks. It's done this off of 82.75 now, 3 times in a row to me. And I'm not just going to freak out, but there's clearly a little bit of buyer here. Let's see if that buyer is more aggressive than the sellers have been. Mm-hmm. Again, we're under the bulge, so that's kind of my line in the sand, but it's too far away. That's the problem with this whole idea. It's, the bulge is all the way up here. And so managing risk here, the only way you can do this is to give it a lot of room and, either use micros or, trade less size. And, you just can't be precise in these conditions. It's not that the market's really thin. There's good liquidity. There's good size at most levels. It's just we're moving around so much. I mean, obviously NQ always does that, but lately, ES has become NQ. Okay, here we go. I think I'm about to get some reward for working this damn idea for the last hour and a half, which is what I've been doing. So I think it's about to work, but I've been wrong before today. So you know what? I'm just going to let this trade play out. So while it is, I'll just speak briefly on funks. And then we've had a whole, roundtable on funks, and, you can go watch that if you want more information on funks. But I just had an interesting thought while I was trading this, that it's interesting. When I was younger, I used to think of emotional pain and physical pain as different things. Think about that for a second. Physical pain, you can actually feel it. And emotional pain was just something wrong with your thinking. You can rewire that, you can think your way out of that. And it's interesting, as I've gotten older, and it's also part of chronic pain, but I think there's a life lesson in this, and there's definitely a trading lesson in this, that nonsense. It's it's exactly the same thing. Physical pain and an emotional pain or depression or that kind of thing are the same thing, because they're all in your head. I mean, I can meditate myself out of excruciating physical pain, but I got to be meditating. If as soon as I come out of the meditation, it's like, hello, the pain still there, it didn't go away. And there's ways you can do that with depression. It's hard to do that on your own with depression, but it's doable in some cases. But it's interesting because it's all just your perception of the situation. And this morning I was having the weirdest thing, and this happens to me a lot lately, and I don't know what it is. It's definitely a funk though, so I thought I'd share it with you. I can be trading well, and I still emotionally feel like crap. It's really weird. I never get what was that?
Sorry, that was one of my alerts. Almost to close.
Yeah, I never get elated or upset when I trade. I haven't for decades. I stay pretty cool because it's a monopoly game. But this is different. This is like where just if you know what depression's like, it's like everything sucks. No matter what's happening, it sucks. And you got like a trade like this is working. I'm up 6 ticks on a 2 lot, and it's going my way and starting to do it aggressively. And I would be sitting here going, God, this is working. And I'm not even enjoying that it's working. It wasn't on board with trade. It had nothing to do with trading. It's just, funks are like that. Go for a walk, the stuff that you see when you walk that normally makes you feel better doesn't, And I started thinking about that, it really, if you can do it when you're meditating, you can do it all the time. Your reality is in your mind. It's your perception of what's happening. And so I just wanted to share that with you guys because, today's one of those days where, if I look at everything going on, there's no reason I should feel like shit, but I do. and it's partially physical. It always is. I'm going to take one off here. This is just, there we go. Now we have a really sweet position. So, I'm effectively short here now that I took profits on that one from 84.5. It's trading 81.5. I'm going to go ahead and protect this now. Put a stop at 83.5. I think this is going to actually come down pretty hard. The first spot it might get bought is maybe 75. So that's my first kind of target, but I'm not going to use a target on this trade. It's obviously, it's really profitable. So, this we could see that kind of momentum at the close where the bottom just falls out, and I could end up with another $500 with the one lot that's left. So I'm going to protect a little bit more of it now. I'm short from 84.5. I'm going to protect this at 82.75. So I'm locking in almost 2 points. If it gets above 82.75, it's probably going to do what it, and there it goes. Okay. So that's nice. We got, 7 ticks. on that one, almost 2 points. That was probably the best one of the session so far. And of course, now it's going up again. This has been going on over and over again. That was a lot of aggression to the downside. You would have expected that to take the low out of the range, but no, the range held perfectly. Look at that. I mean, this is why I track the range. No matter what I think, the range is always right. Think about that. Linear regression is math. It's not wrong. It's correct about what the range is. It's when I think I know the range and I don't listen to the math. I'm not saying use that as an indicator. I'm just saying when it disagrees with you, it's probably right. So, and this is, this looks like it would be a really easy range to trade because it's such a tight range, but it's not. The energy in both directions, it starts really aggressive. And that just, every time I see that, my experience with that type of behavior is there is a large move coming. It could be either way. It could be both, but this is nowhere near over. This is not, everybody realized there was a correction, bought the dip, and we're going to all-time highs, and we all agree on that. This isn't that. There's a bid under the market, but it is not the kind of bid that says that's going to happen necessarily. And on the other side, it's not that, oh my God, cool, another place to get short into the big correction. It's not that either. The selling aggression is there, but the aggressors are immediately taking profits and the buyers are immediately coming back in, which is what a range day looks like, except it's too aggressive. So I hope this is making sense. It's not price discovery because there's plenty of liquidity and, it's not sweepy. It's just really aggressive in the range at places that normally it isn't. And, that's, again, this is like the wrong way around on the deltas. It's just one of those things when this is going on, you say to yourself, this is just weird. Weird isn't necessarily a good thing. So I'm bringing up the day again to look. Boy, they're still right next to each other, aren't they, guys? This is the all day, the session footprint. And so we're way below that contested area now. And now, of course, we're getting a price rejector. This is just wants to give us stuff to think about. This type of a pattern where there's a massive bulge there, that's the high volume node, and that's all selling, and we're below it. This should be a perfect place to be short. And it's not getting. Oh, now it's starting to get some energy. Now we broke 80. Of course, I already took profits, but that's okay. If the momentum really gets going, I will join it again because this is the trade I actually was looking for. So let's see if we can lean on 80, maybe there, catch a short. I don't want to just hit the market because it's just moving around too much. I need a good entry. 80 would be a good entry if this isn't going to go any higher, if it's going to drop, but it doesn't even want to give me 80. See if we can get 80. No. Okay, let's join it with a market order. I think this probably has some traction to the downside. And we'll keep that one there because that's a really good fill of this action. But I think this bulge right here is definitely in play. So let's see if we can get down there. Anyway, yep, there it goes. Wow, hello. This is what I like to trade when I'm just right away. And, I can quickly jump in and take profits. I'm going to do it right here. And then we'll see if we can get a reset on that and get another bounce to short. So, now we're getting the kind of momentum I expect to see on a big up day like this. So come on, come get me. And no. Come on, fill me. Thank you. Jeez. Let's get a little bit farther away. So anyway, you can see, what's going on the session footprint there. And we should go down from here, given everything over there, or at least, not go up. Let's put it that way. But you never know. So I've got this one short again. I'd love to add another one right under 80 here and kind of use 80 as my line in the sand. I don't think I'm going to get it. I tried once already. Oh, now I might get it right here. No, second time it trades right to me and I don't get filled. That's why I took a market order, by the way. That just means, we have a little apex inflection point here. And if it does go, I'm probably on the right side of it because I can't get filled up there. But, that just could be the range it's working now. Again, it's been really aggressive both ways. So have no opinion, boys and girls. Time is it? See if we can get that other fill there. And probably not. Boy, if it can really get in this thin area here, we could go down a long ways. Let's see if we can catch that drop. Yeah, if you watch the trading, it's so aggressive for a couple of ticks, and then somebody aggressive the other way, and then and look at that. It's really, really unusual that it would be this two-way at so many different levels. That's just not something I've seen very often. I mean, obviously I'm on the right side here and my idea is working. Doesn't want to give me a lot each way. So 75, I was saying, is a nice spot. So let's go ahead and put the first target there on, if it can sweep down, maybe we'll get filled down here. And if it pops up, maybe we'll add one. Okay, it's coming toward me. And this could go all the way to the other end of the range, but it's bouncing so much, I really want to keep taking profits. As I tell you over and over again, always take profits. Okay, we will take 5 ticks on that one, I think. No, it traded there. It didn't want to give them to me. Here we go again. I'm going to try to get 3 or 4 there. Let's see. I'm on 4 right now. So let's see. 3 might happen if it comes down again. Here it comes. Sweep, sweep, sweep. Come on, sweep me. Sweep me, sweep me. And yeah, we'll go ahead and take the 3 ticks if it gets it. There's somebody buying down here. And I'm not even going to give me the 3 ticks, are you? See, it's been like this all day. Oh, there we go. We got the 3. Okay. Let's see if we can get a refill up there near 80 on a bounce and continue working the downside here, which so far is working okay. Yes, Jeff, I'm aware of that. Thank you. Oh, wait, that was me posting that. Sorry. Mecky says we haven't really had any pullback yet. Everything about this is weird. Mecky, you're saying that's weird. That's what just JVC and I were just saying. Everything going on today is weird. It's just like, like now, look, the bottom looks pretty clean, 7 by 0 on this rotation so far. And, the pullback's a decent amount of buying, but we're way below that spot. And, now these are the right way around and we're below, max or min delta, so sellers in control. And obviously, below that delta, there was a lot of selling. So, I still like the short, but, I'd love to get filled up here on my short so I can get a little closer, a little better entry. 80 seems to be the spot. Again, that's the bottom of the volume profile bulge. And, as I've been saying all afternoon here, from my point of view, as long as we're on this end, the lower end of the bulge, it's a short, and that one played out perfectly, but it's not making it easy for you. This is really moving around. Oh, and by the way, the micros aren't making it any easier. In fact, today, the micros are making it harder. I was seeing all kinds of weird stuff in the micros. They were trading as much as 2 ticks away from ES under active conditions a few times, and so I closed them down and decided they weren't worth the energy. I would just play good setups in the mini or nothing, which with volatility always makes sense to do that. Also, as you're kind of seeing, I'm scaling up a little bit, so I'm not hesitating to go in with 3 or 4 or 5 minis at a time. You've seen that a few times here. I've gone in with a few, but only when I really like what's happening. This could be another perfect short spot here. Boy, 77.5 can hold. Let's see if we can get one there and it holds. It looks like it's getting sold right here. This level is being argued again, but there's some pretty aggressive selling there. And there's a 0 print. Okay, so we got that one. Let's see if that trades back down to 75. Looks like it's going to. I almost spilled something there. Or not. All right, remember the line in the sand is 80, so let's see if the one I've been trying to get filled. It got to 79 and got swept down by 7 ticks. So there's sellers. Exactly. I have been trying to fill this for a while now, and I can't fill that one, even though I'm 78 out of 147 in line in the queue there, and still it gets within a tick or 2 ticks, and that same selling comes in. So I think I'm on the right side of the equation here, but again, it's not making it easy. If this one, let's give that one. That one might just fall out. I'm going to look to take profits around 75 here, but in the event that it falls through it, I'm going to let it. So, all right, right here, this is what I'm watching. I will either take profits here or I will continue to let it drop. So it's popped down here, and that's where I've seen a little bit of buying. So I'm going to take that one off if I can. Yeah, let's take that one off. Okay, cool. So that was another 3 or 4 ticks. Oh, okay, now we're in the last half hour of the session. So if this is going to start selling off, it should do it right now. And again, I still like that spot there. That's the last spot, top of the range. What's going on over here? Nothing really interesting. We'll go until maybe, I don't know, quarter of or 10 of, and then I got to get out of here. I have to go do something. So we'll wrap up. Hey, JVC, just let me know if there's any questions or comments that I need to hear. I'm not really watching the chat.
Gotcha. Okay, now it's been quiet.
Yeah, cool. This is finally starting to work, and it's giving me decent profits on the shorts, but again, this is not at all what it looks like when it's working well. I wish we had stayed with the last closing session I did where that squeeze finally happened. I talked about it for like an hour and a half, and then we wrapped up, and then right after we wrapped up, it started, and I was like, that's so typical. It's like the market just does that, All right, here we go. Looks like I might be able to get another fill here. It looks like that's the sweet spot again in the range. Let's let that one fill. If it does fill, if it doesn't fill, I'll take one at the market anyway. Okay, we got that one. Let's make some room around it. This 77. Oh, perfect entry. Oh, good trades work right away like that. Let's protect that because that was a sweep that just gave me 6 ticks, and let's not let it go back, but I might be in a really good spot. One more sweep. No, okay. So that's cool. That was great. That was a nice little 6 or 7 ticks there. And now it's starting to get the volume's going up. It's getting more energy. This is what you see again going into the close. I still like the short idea, but this is about the spot. Remember, I said 75 that I kind of figured that would be the end of it. So we caught a bunch of good little scalps in there. So this is good conditions to do this particular session. You guys can get a good experience seeing how it works. The key to trading the close, and the reason I wanted to do some closing sessions was twofold. Number one, people had asked me a bunch of times, let's do more closing sessions. Okay, so that's reason number one. Reason number two, when you get the right action, the close is really easy to trade. And here's what I recommend. Number one, if there's a significant move for the day, just be mindful that there's people in positions for that direction. And at some point, they've got to take profits. The vast majority of the capital in futures is day trading capital with hedge funds. And so, they will take profits at some point, but they're not in a hurry. They're not on margin. They're just diligent. So, if you kind of think that way, you'll never really be totally caught off guard at the close. Today the close should do what we're seeing it do. And this is about where it should stop doing it. It's pulled back enough here below the first hour high that we could have given a lot of people time to exit all the longs. And the traps, see, now the question is the trap shorts that got caught in this move up, if they're still in this market, they're going to start buying here to get out. And that could be, again, another thrust. We could go up again with a lot more momentum. And that would be why that would typically happen, that there's shorts that we have not cleaned up yet. Now, today does not look like that. Today looks like it's going to it could go to the other end of the range. Again, this could have just been all short squeeze at the beginning. But I don't want to assume that. I just want to keep playing shorts where I can enter them effectively. Again, if this one fills, I'll be really happy because that's the perfect spot. Anywhere else down here is just too tricky right now. It's look at NQ. Look at all those wicks on this range. It's like, you could get a perfect fill and get swept right out of your trade before you had time to even take profits. That happened to me this morning a few times. That's why I put NQ down today. It's up It's up like 3% or something. Hang on, let's go look. Yeah, just less than that, 2.7, 430 points, So the wicks in NQ today are just wicked. That's why they call them wicks. All right. If 75 goes here, then, anything could happen. That was, I kind of thought the line that had to hold for this, the P to really be that part of the volume to still be in play. So again, if we can get below 75 aggressively, I will join the momentum again to the short side. I will not wait for a bounce because that's just too good an opportunity. So I'm kind of ready to do that here, but I'd like to see more selling. See, that could be a passive buying right there. See that big block or group of blocks, the volume, in other words. It's on the sell side, but we're sitting there. So that could be a passive buyer. Who knows? We're just below the min delta. So, sellers are in control, but, possible price rejector buyers down here. That's what I was just pointing out. I'm seeing that and there now it continued down. Okay, so that's kind of fulfilling the thesis that it's got further to go. Don't want to join with the market, although it's tempting. It's so tempting. Let's try one at the market and see what happens. This is a lot of down energy, and unless it just goes straight up, I should be able to get a 3-tick or a 2-tick scalp. Oh, I got 2 ticks. It didn't fill. Let's see if that happens again. And it should just push right through me and fill. It did. Okay, so that's cool. So, there are sweet little scalps in this action. You just kind of have to be discriminating about where you decide to go try them. And again, I wouldn't
do.
Okay. I was just going to say, I wouldn't try this with a one lot account. It's moving around too much for that. So I would not be trying this with the mini with a small account. You have to take too much risk. On the other hand, if you can afford to play a little bit with this, the action, there's some logic to it, I guess, is the best. Okay, let's see. There's a question from Jan. Let's see. Jeff, please explain a little how he picks the exact spot to place his limit orders. Well, there is no exactly, but I've sort of been doing that, Jan. I look for bulges in the high volume, in the volume profile. I'm looking for high volume nodes because, it'll never trade through a high volume node quickly. It'll always, at least pause there. So it gives you kind of a reference point. So that's one of them. But the primary thing I'm doing is I'm looking at the range and which way we're going. We're going down. The momentum in bursts has been really good. So I'm thinking short. Those are the two reasons I'm thinking short. We did lose the first hour high. We're below it now. We're, below on the pullback. We're not, but on this rotation, we're below min delta. Pretty aggressive selling down here. So, sellers are in control. So that's my reference points. Where I choose to put orders is based on where it's been moving very recently. The last couple of pushes down, like this push down was 71.5. So I'd look at that and say, all right, if it loses that, the short's going to continue probably down to at least 70.25. So, I might try to lean on a push up like this to get a short on to go the other way for 2 or 3 ticks. It's not a precision add this to that. That's why I did the sandwich thing. I was kind of trying to explain, the elements of it, but it's driving. So you're adding all the elements together all the time. Like, this is definitely, this level's in play, but the way it's trading here feels like it's got more down to go, and it's just, popping up a bit. So again, if I can get a fill at a good reference point, I use the quarters a lot too. This is a quarter right here at 72.50, and I can't get a fill at 72.75. So that's telling me that, in fact, this is a good reference point right here. If we get a fill, good chance we could get 2 or 3 ticks right away. And so far I haven't been filled, and it's gone 3 ticks in the direction I would be filled had I been short, so that's, again, this action is totally telling me that sell order is in exactly the right spot. When I get filled, I can grab some ticks. So, unless the conditions change. And going into the close, it's really unlikely the conditions are going to change. Will we get a complete high volume reversal and go screaming up to the highs with 20 minutes to go? Really unlikely. We'll probably continue to work the ranges as people start closing trades out. So again, still can't get filled, couldn't get filled up here, and that was 10 points ago. So those are obviously in exactly the right spot. And it's a learned skill of watching the short-term trading and watching the range and watching the structure as to see, now we've got a price rejector on the pullback. That got me into that trade. Okay, so that first one filled. Let's see, I don't want to use that as a stop. This trade should work for a few ticks. I'll just show that as an example because I got a good entry. But again, if the buyers just come ripping in here, I'm wrong, or I need to give it more room. Again, a day like today is really hard to game that. Okay, that doesn't look like buying. That still looks like the range is holding. Again, 75 is kind of the edge of it now. But again, you never know. We could get another short squeeze here and go wicked north. So. You gonna say something, JVC, or is that just, I heard a mic?
Oh, no, I'm sorry. I was muted and I bumped my headset.
Okay, cool. So anyway, I'm gonna do that. Again, it's holding the spot I was liking short. So, again, we should see 72.5 again, in which case I'll get out of a couple of really profitable scalps. But again, I could totally get swept up and get screwed here really fast. This action today has been difficult to predict, predictable, but I have to really be tuned in and stay really tight with it. So we'll take 2 off on the first one, and we'll take 72.5 on the other one. Or if this clears that, we're going to get out of the way. And God, it's right there. That's what it keeps doing. Right at the spot I would get out of the way is the spot that is in play, and that's what makes this type of trading so hard on this. Yeah, this could be some buyers here. Do we want to flatten out? Really tough call right here, guys. Yeah, now there's a bid under the market. Let's see. He got eaten up. This is not, you don't want to trade this, but we might as well leave this one going, and we'll see what we can do with it just for fun. And then we'll call it a day here. So I think this is probably going to work. It's just, that's way too much heat. I've got the right direction, but there's just so many people going both ways that okay, see that right there? That was accumulation right there. But I think he's really selling. So let's see what happens. Yeah, there we go. We should puke down from here. We kind of tapped it. So let's scoot one of these down a bit and see if we can catch another push down if we get it, just to make this a little more worthwhile since we're doing it. This is the spot I expect to stop first, this bulge, which is where I am here, maybe even up a tick. So that's a good spot. And that's right above it. So that'll get out with some profits, even if that holds. And we'll see this as it comes down through that. I'll move this out of the way if we really get a strong move down. But this is way too much heat for this type of setup. Yeah, see, that guy keeps putting bids up there and they keep getting filled. So I don't know. That could end up going either way. So again, I'm ready to get flat really fast if I have to. But yeah, who knows what's happening. This is just, that's in my direction. That's good. Big sweep down. I'm short. I always want the sweeps to be your way, or you don't want to be trading. If I was seeing up sweeps right now, I would flatten out. But so there's 2 big down sweeps in a row toward me. So unless the buyers just come screaming in here, I should be in good shape on my short. Yep, they're selling again right there. Now we're the wrong way around again on this rotation. And there's a price rejector on the bottom of the pullback. So, take your pick. You've got any scenario you think you can see here, you probably could explain convincingly. So, JVC, do you want to take a shot at the structure?
Second, I just walked out of my room. Let me walk back in. Let me take a peek.
You went to the litter box.
Yeah, I actually went to go check on my lunch. I never look at anything this time of day, so this will be interesting.
Yeah, just look at this is the wrong way around. Price rejector on the pullback.
Yeah, but it's wrong way around. Well, actually, sorry, I'm looking at the session profile. It's wrong way around on the session profile, but it's still those same 2 contested deltas. Oh, yeah. So it's just, whatever. There's a giant battle up there, but it's way overhead right now. So clearly the sellers won. But nobody has established a point where we're too low yet. So
yeah, this was, look at that, 486 by 0. So that, if that goes, this could be a real nice puke down below that spot right there. Mm-hmm. So, and that, I'm kind of feeling like that's what's going to happen. I'm about to take profits on one of my shorts here. And come on, Phil, damn it. Jesus, this has been happening all day. I mean, it's traded there 3 times now. 24 have traded, and I'm at 61 in line, and I can't fill. It's like, I'm getting it right. But it's just everybody is exactly where I am. It's just like, pardon my French, fuck you. So,
you're trying to cut in line.
Yeah, it's like, I mean, me and every Mr. Hedge Fund guy I know is buying exactly the same price. Come on, guys, cut me a break here. I'm not a 1,000-lot trader.
Now we're right at 75 even, where there's a big negative delta on the pullback bar on the session.
Oh yeah, and that's the spot that I'm saying is in play here. That's the bulge, and it's the quarter is 75, and it should fall hard from here. But you just saw, I mean, it literally traded on my 73 limit, 24 contracts right in front of me, and the bottom could not fall out. So
maybe you'll get it at the 10-minute market on close thing that always happens.
Yeah, that could happen. Yeah, and and then it could just in fact we might get that. There we go. We got it. Okay, so let's move this guy out of the way and see if we can catch a real good drop here.
Yeah, it could scream back down.
It could scream down. Yeah, it definitely could. So let's just see how. We've got a nice profit here. We're short from 74.25. It's 72.25. I'm not protecting it at all though, because I really want to see if it'll go. I'll hit flat if it starts to go up again. But if 70 goes, I could be in really good shape here. We could see 50 really quickly. So
here goes the bottom of the pullback bar.
Yeah, there it goes right there. We will get a
absorption happening.
Yeah, big time. Look at that right there. Yep. Yeah, let's see if he gets run over, he's going to puke. That's going to really puke if that runs over. At least down to 70, probably lower. What is that? A couple thousand? 1,300?
1,300 right now. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a big puke.
It's held for the moment, but
for the moment, yeah. I can't wait for the puke. They're right there. That's what slamming the bid. When Doc says slamming the bid, that's what it looks like. They're just slamming into him. And boy, if he pukes, look out. We're going to fall really hard, because that's a lot of contracts somebody's vacuuming up there long. Yep. That's what's happening. And as soon as he realizes he's wrong, then look out. That could sweep 10 levels, because it's a decent chunk of volume. So
there's a nice big liquidity bump at 70 as well. I wonder if that will suddenly disappear before.
And that's where the Mr. Liquidity is too, in the micros. So yeah.
Oh, they're that close in the micros. Wow.
Oh yeah. Well, the first one is. The other one's down 67.5, but how he's sometimes in two chunks.
Yeah.
Yeah. I asked somebody to explain that to me, and they told me that was under non-disclosure from the CME, but they're there's actually
it would be too obvious if there was just one gigantic thing where all the liquidity was.
It's two levels of the algorithm that they contract to, is the way it's been explained to me without violating the non-disclosure. All right, now I'm going to protect this at 72.75, which again, if it gets above that quarter, then it might get to 75 again, in which case I'll give back all my profits. So I don't want to do that, and that just happened. So I just took profits at 72.50 instead of having it go all the way back up. I was, that was a really nice 3-4 points there. I'll take those all the time. And, this one's still sitting up here unfilled, and so the short has been the right idea, but boy, it could really, it's like pulling teeth. I had a mentor that used to say that all the time. A mentor used to say it all the time with his New York accent. Boy, getting a fill here is like pulling teeth. Anyway, what type of personality makes a successful trader? That goes to, there's a lot of personalities. I'll tell you the kind that doesn't make successful traders, Jeff. People that are impulsive, that don't have, you don't have to be a really disciplined individual. I think there's some good traders that aren't that disciplined, but they're process oriented. But I think that, that if you just cannot manage yourself, then pretty much, even if you know how to trade properly, look at that sweep. Wow, that was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 ticks. So yeah, I think someone that just can't manage their impulses, it can't trade. But I think almost every other type of personality can be potentially a good trader. I think my type of personality obviously it leans towards scalping. But it's funny, Surfer Dude's kind of a scalper, and he's pretty low key. He's pretty surfer dude,
Just blasted the absorption.
Yes, it did. There it goes. Yeah, and there's a big zero print there too at the absorption. That's very interesting. Well, I guess that's sort of expected as it disappeared. Yeah, now we're at 67. So, shoulda, coulda, woulda, stay in your trade, and this is still going down. So, while we were talking, I did put on the triple short ETF because this is going down aggressively enough that I think this could be a one-trick pony day. So I told you earlier, I took profits on the long. I went ahead and put on some of the triple ETF shorts here. This up move may not be over, but it's a good bet that I can make some money with them from here after this move today. That what you want to see on a move like this is, does it close nearer to the high or the low? Well, we just filled the 50% of the gap, and we're doing it going into the close. That is not bullish. That is, everybody thinks this was too high, and they all want to take profits or short it. And they tried all day, and now they're finally their trades are finally working. That's how I would explain this to a 4-year-old. So anyway, I'm going to wrap up here, guys, so that I can go run some personal errands. And I think we had a pretty good session. We saw some decent examples of trades that worked and a whole bunch that didn't. That's good. That's good education. And I made a little bit of chump change here trading it. Let me get this back over there so we can see the whole thing. Yeah, look at that. Wow. Yeah, this is just sloppy shit. So it could end up doing lots of things in the next few minutes. I'm perfectly happy if you want to keep the room. Oh, does impulse mean letting the monkey out all the time? That's a great question. Follow-up question, Jeff, to the personality question. Not necessarily. Being impulsive and being a monkey are two. The monkey is just when you just do stupid things. And there's a lot of monkey traits. Short the high, buy the low. There's a whole lot of really stupid things you can do in monkey trading. But it's when you just abandon process is the way that I look at it. That's when you're monkeying, is when you abandon process. It's possible to have a good process and be following your process and lose and become impulsive. So you can still be, a decent trader with a good process and have bursts of impulsivity. And, and you're listening to one. That's one of my weaknesses. Because, I tend to be early. That's a little bit of impulsiveness. But I also tend to be really good at reading the market. So, it's like I have to kind of go against my intuition to not be early. And I've explained this over and over. I kind of allow myself to nibble. And, nibbles have to work. Or, you just saw it. 4 examples of I put a nibble trade on at a certain limit and it never filled, but there's still one up there, But by showing me as we traded away from it, it was kind of proving the point that I was nibbling with. And that's the way that I have learned to nurture my skill and, and my impulsivity of being early. And it really is both of those. And that's what's so hard to understand when you're new, is just that there's a lot of, it's not black, it's not white, and it's not gray. It moves around a lot psychologically. You really have to, that's why being in tune with yourself is so important. So the second part of that, the monkey is just when you're stupid. Like, let's say you're doing what JVC is doing. You've got a really predictable setup. You're trading that. You've got 2 funded accounts on that. You're playing around with trade copiers on that. If that crap all works, look at his session this morning. He could pick up $1,000 with just a couple of ticks by doing that if that all works and he gets the kinks worked out of it. It's already working in the funded accounts. The trading copier thing is the next step. So, if you think about that, that's pretty consistent and there's no monkey there. Now, the monkey would be, doing something besides that. Or overscaling that, saying, well, I've been doing really well for 2 whole weeks. So instead of 2 lots, I'm going to do 5 lots. That's a monkey. That's not impulsive. Go ahead.
Trading please. A bunch when my setups are done.
Yeah. Trading in the middle of the day, trading now. Now it doesn't mean he can't do that. It just, in those evaluations, he needs to let those be what they are. So again, you can let your monkey out sometimes in the sim when you're not in your evaluation. Again, there's a lot of layers of that, and it's very personal. Different people have different monkeys. I know people that are absurdly disciplined and not impulsive. I mean, rock solid. And again, you've probably seen this before in your life experience too. Guess what? When those people crack, and I have seen this happen, doctors is where I see it the most. A couple of them are my cousins that have been through this. Most doctors would tell you they have. When they crack so much harder because they're so good at being disciplined. So they have really big swings. And that's kind of what I was talking about this morning with the funky thing about, kind of, you can be in a funk when it's working. It's just the nature of the type of person you have to be good at this. So it's really important to define, what your monkey is and is not. And I think impulsiveness and the monkey can be impulsive, but there are many kinds of monkeys. Impulsivity is not the only one. Hopefully that answers your question. All right. I think we covered all the questions.
It's lunchtime for me. So
yeah, like I said, I've got to run some personal errands. So I'm going to wrap it up here. I think, where are we now? We got 4 minutes left. Yeah, they're going to squeeze some shorts going into the close here. What it looks like is happening. Because now we're way above that level. And we're almost back up at the contested level. Oh, look at that. The zero print's coming up too. Remember the zero print? That was obviously some stops that they caught, on the way down there. So they're going to go back up and get them. Fill that in. That's really likely. And look where we're ending up, folks. This will be a great place to end the session. We're right back on the high volume bulge that we've been talking about, trading above, trading below, if we're above the middle, if we're below the middle. Clearly, this is important today. If you understand the nature of this giant high volume node, in other words, the top of the P, then all of this action up here makes some sense. It hasn't been particularly tradable. The trade of today was getting long at the open, obviously. Ever since then, it could be death by 1,000 cuts. In fact, I was talking to somebody that was doing that, not somebody in TRG or that I mentor, but just somebody sent me a private message. I keep trying to get long here and I keep getting stopped down. I'm like, well, why do you keep trying to get long? Because we're going to 5,000. I was like, why are we going to 5,000? I just saw it on CNBC. I'm like, oh, okie dokie. It's like, you need to go back and start over with understanding what's important and what's not. It's really hard to tell people stuff like that, too. This guy's really, thinks Jim Cramer is just God. And, he's just a guy on Facebook that I've asked me questions now and then, and I'm nice enough to answer them. But it's just so funny when you hear that. Now, God, look at this aggression here. Look at the equivolume, how white that is. And now we've got a pull back price rejector going up. This is just craziness. Anyway, and of course now we're back at 82. So 85, the bulge is still in play. All right, we'll wrap it up. Let's see. Buy high volume node at first hour high 85. In the close, would I do that? No, I wouldn't do that at all in the close bar. That's a trade that I would do, in the first hour, or going into the close if we were up there. But no, not here. We're gonna be closed in 4 minutes, 2 minutes. So no, now you have to be on the right side of momentum at the close. Otherwise, number one, remember we just had a 13 tick sweep in ES, and again, no. So the answer is no. Let me think if I can say 4 other ways to say no. Not a bad idea, Bar, for structurally any other time. Like the end of the first hour, that would be a great idea. From there, but yes, but the high volume node is it's clearly 85. So I'm short below it, but not at this time of the day, as I was saying, and I'm long above it. But we saw that didn't go anywhere either. This is a really good set of examples. Okay, you're welcome. All right, cool. Any other quick comments, questions, burning desires, anything like that?
You're welcome, CK. Good session.
Cool. Yeah, thank you. I got some people also saying that to me. Andrew, Bar, Jan, Jeff, thank you. Appreciate it. Meki. Yeah, this was kind of fun. This is part of my funk. There's days when there's nothing worth doing. Trading's no fun. Walking the dog's no fun. Going on, there's just nothing. And I know that's what depression is sort of like. I do get depression, and when it's really bad, it's like that. Getting out of bed. But this just, I don't know. I don't get this. I have these funks where I'm trading well, I'm seeing the market, and I just not fun. Nothing's fun, and this is usually really fun for me. So I don't know what the heck's going on. Anyway, and again, the reason I'm telling you guys that, and I wanted to just make that part of this session, is that every trader I know goes through that, and you just have to, what I've learned to do is, if I'm competent, those are two different things, funks and competency. If I'm competent, I will keep trading as long as I'm not making stupid mistakes. But when I'm in a funk, it's hard. And so I generally continue doing it because doing hard things makes you better. Anyway, we'll wrap it up there. Talk to you guys later.